News Central now this hour begins with updates from the election in Ghana. The Ghana Police Service has arrested 12 individuals linked to election-related violence, including the arson attack on the Electoral Commission office in Damongo, Savannah region. This attack occurred after a group of young protesters, frustrated by delays in election results, set the office ablaze, destroying critical materials and records. In a statement, ACP Grace Ansa Akrofi confirmed the arrests and revealed the suspects are also implicated in damaging state assets and looting a school feeding program warehouse in Tamale. Police have intensified patrols and assured the public of ongoing efforts to maintain peace. Citizens are urged to remain calm and cooperate with authorities as investigations continue. Meanwhile, the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has warned electoral officials to adhere strictly to rules in the 2024 elections or face prosecution. Dr. Edward Omani Boma, the NDC's Director of Elections, made the statement on Monday, stressing the party's commitment to a fair and transparent process. In a social media post, Dr. Boma said returning officers found guilty of misconduct will be held accountable under the law. He also emphasized the NDC's vigilance at collation centers to prevent malpractice. He went on to urge the Electoral Commission to strengthen oversight mechanisms and ensure results reflect the people's will, calling for collaboration among stakeholders to maintain peace and integrity throughout the election period. Now, in the meantime, the chairperson of Ghana's Electoral Commission, EC, Jean Mensa, has assured the public of the Commission's transparency and fairness in handling the elections. At a press briefing, Mensa emphasized the ECC's commitment to accountability and inclusiveness while urging patience as results from some regions are still pending. She reiterated that the final declaration will only be made after due processes are completed. Now, pressure is mounting from political parties, with the National Democratic Congress, NDC, demanding immediate results. Provisional figures suggest former President John Dramani Mahama is in the lead. The delay is partly attributed to political supporters besieging EC offices, or offices rather, in some regions, affecting the collation process.
The Commission. So on behalf of the Commission, we thank you very much for your time. We believe that in the next few hours, we are hopeful that the results will start trickling in. And if it becomes necessary to hold another press conference, we will do so. But to the citizens of Ghana, we ask that you exercise some patience. So transparent has been the process, and I believe that, I think right from the first few hours after the opening of the polls to date, we have held, this is the 8th press conference that we have held as part of the 2024 election. Indeed, prior to this time, the Commission held only one press briefing, and that was when the results were going to be announced. We believe that even in the next couple of hours, you would walk with us, you would journey with us on the journey of transparency, accountability, responsiveness, and inclusiveness as we receive the results that will come in from the regions. We assure the citizens that we will work hard in their interests as our key stakeholders to ensure that every vote that is cast at the polling station.
Now, reactions have continued to trail the elections in Ghana after former President John Dramani Mahama won a historic comeback election victory on Sunday after the ruling party accepted defeat, with voters appearing to channel their frustrations to them for the government's handling of an economic crisis. Following Saturday's election, New Patriotic Party candidate Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia on Sunday conceded Ghanaians wanted change after he failed to shake off widespread frustration over high costs of living. Now, supporters of presidential candidate John Mahama celebrate outside the headquarters of his National Democratic Congress, NDC party.
Ghana is green and Ghana have won, and we are happy. We are very, very happy for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Yes, they said he can't come, and he has come. The nation builder is back to build our Ghana for us, because we are in need of schools, we are in need of hospitals, and we are in need of work. The 24-hour economy is here, and it's here to stay.
Honestly, from him because he has already done a lot in the so short 4 years. So I know he can do more.
It's been 8 good years since we've come in this mess and we want a change. So we are very happy today. We've gotten a change. We've gotten quality education. We've gotten 24 hours job. The youth outside, they will also get a job. Those at home will get a job. The nursing will be posted and everything will be okay. So at this point, we are very happy for the change that has come.
So today, if I'm happy that God Almighty has listened to our prayers and choose the one that Ghanaians need to be the next president of the Republic of Ghana. So Ghanaians are happy.
Let's still stay with Ghana elections. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Ghana's president-elect John Dramani Mahama on his victory in the December 7 general elections. In a phone call, Tinubu commended Mahama's return to leadership, expressing hope that it will strengthen stability within ECOWAS. Tinubu praised Ghanaians for their peaceful and democratic electoral process and applauded Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia for conceding defeat, reinforcing Ghana's commitment to democracy. Now, the Nigerian leader emphasized Nigeria's support for deepening ties with Ghana, highlighting shared history and goals for regional integration. Tinubu also acknowledged outgoing President Nana Akufo-Addo's contributions to peace and progress. He pledged cooperation with Mahama's administration to enhance bilateral relations and promote prosperity in West Africa. And in the same vein, the president of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, His Excellency Dr. Omar Ali Toure, congratulates the people of Ghana on their successful and generally peaceful elections. President of the Commission also congratulates His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on his victory. Now, Toure also commended Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia for his prompt surrender, which demonstrates his statesmanship and love for the country. Now, the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, on Sunday, commended Ghana's electoral process, highlighting its innovations and political stability as key factors in the smooth conduct of its 2024 presidential election. Yakubu, who monitored the election, observed the political stability inherent in Ghana's democracy, noting the consistency of its political party structures and voter loyalty. Yakubu cited the perseverance of the main opposition candidate, a former vice president and the current president, Nana Akufo-Addo, who contested multiple elections before achieving success.
It's been a very interesting election. We came here as part of the ECOWAS network of electoral commissions with colleagues from Sierra Leone and Liberia, and also with colleagues from the Southern African region. And there is even a gracious concession on the part of the other candidate of the main party. So we are grateful that it has gone very well, but the process is still on. The election result has been officially announced by the Electoral Commission, so we'll go and continuously support our colleague in the Electoral Commission. But we are very happy with this process and outcome. There are many things I've observed. The first thing is the political parties. One of the lessons I think from this election for me is the fact that the main opposition candidate was vice president and president of the Republic of Ghana, lost elections on 2 different occasions. He is now 3rd time lucky. And the candidate of the ruling party has also been in the same party which has been in and out of power for a long time. Rarely in Ghana do you see people moving from one party to another with every general election. So that is important. It provides stability. It also provides their supporters stability, so that you have people who support political parties for many, many years. So whether the party is in power or in opposition, they stick to the political party. The second thing for me is the lesson that Ghana also learned from Nigeria in the area of managing constituency election results. Until the last election in Ghana, all results come to the EC headquarters in Accra. That is parliamentary and presidential. Although Ghana is not a federal system, but they learn from Nigeria where you have returning officers that announce results for parliamentary elections in the various constituencies around the country. Only the presidential election results come to Accra. So in Nigeria, this is what we have done, and they borrowed a leaf from us, and this is the second time they're implementing that. That's why, as you can see, the declaration of the presidential election result was a lot faster than it used to be in the past.
Well, we're still talking about Ghana's elections. We now cross over to our international correspondent, Afia Hagen, who's in Ghana for the latest on the elections. Afia, hello. I mean, as of 24 hours ago, we're talking about the Ghana elections, and we did have a lot to unpack on the update of the elections. But as of this moment, what is the latest in Ghana?
Results have been certified, so just 3 more to go. There is a feeling that we are on the home straight to some sort of declaration from the Electoral Commission. We are at the National Collation Centre where the final results will be declared. So at the moment, within the next few hours. Now, once that declaration has been made, the certification of all the 16 regions, remember we have 13, the results in already, 3 more to go. Once that has happened, then we will hear the declaration of the presidential results, and then after that we will probably hear from incoming President-elect John Mahama. So at the moment we are playing a waiting game.
Right, speaking of waiting, has there been the announcement of a particular time where we're to expect the result, or the whole nation should just wait for whenever it's announced?
Yeah, like I said, it is a waiting game at the moment. Now, yesterday when we heard from the Electoral Commission, they said that last year they managed to declare the result within 48 hours, which was a record for them. They've promised to deliver the result within 72 hours. We are about, by my calculations, about 41 hours or so after the polls opened, so after the polls closed, 42 hours, something like that. But there is a feeling that the result is imminent. Like in the 13 constituencies declared, a lot of that counting was done overnight actually, and the certification's done this morning. So just 3 more to go. Like I said, they don't want to give us a time. They don't want to give a firm, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, anything like that. But what they have said is that it is imminent, and we are hoping that it will be today.
Thank you so much, Afia Hagen, for giving us the update. Again, from Accra, Ghana, we also still have Bernard Akede, who is currently in Kumasi, who would also be giving us more updates as to when to expect the announcement of the result. News reaching us now confirms that Dele Farotimi has been granted bail of 50 million naira surety in the like sum with someone with landed property, and the case has been adjourned to the 29th of January 2025. Well, the news has been confirmed that Dele Farotimi, who was earlier detained, has been granted bail of 50 million naira surety in the like sum with someone with landed property, and the case has been adjourned to the 29th of January 2025, and that is on Dele Farotimi's detention on alleged defamation, who is a human rights lawyer. He has been granted bail in Ekiti State, and it's a bail of 50 million naira surety, and the case has also been adjourned to the 29th of January 2025. And of course, News Central will keep you abreast on how the case unfolds from here. It's time for a quick break now. When we come back, Labour Party initiates legal action to reclaim seats of 4 defected lawmakers. We have the details of this and many more after the break. Many thanks for staying with us. Now let's talk about a major menace that is bedeviling the African nation. A former president of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, has said that the battle against corruption can only be effective and successful if it begins with accountability among top government officials. The former president said that tackling corruption at the highest level of leadership will set an example for others and demonstrate the government's commitment to transparency and integrity. He spoke last night during an interactive session in Abeokuta, the Ondo State capital. The conversation focused on Obasanjo's legacies in government and his assessment of today's Nigeria. Chief Olusegun Obasanjo described corruption as Hydra-headed and one that is eating deep into the fabric of Nigerian society, emphasizing that the fight against corruption must start with leadership for it to succeed. Speaking of leadership, let's head to politics, where the Labour Party has initiated legal action to reclaim the seats of 4 lawmakers who defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress. The party insists it is improper for the lawmakers to retain their seats following their defection. The affected members include Tochukwu Okere from Imo, Donatus Matthew from Kaduna, Basi Akibe from Cross River, Iyawe Esosa from Ondo State, and Dolip Fom from Plateau. The defection letters were read on the floor of the House of Representatives by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas. Labour Party National Publicity Secretary Obiora Ifo condemned the move, describing it as unfortunate, irrational, and a violation of democratic principles. The party vows to pursue the matter through the legal system to uphold its mandate. And to judicial matters now, magistrates in Cross River State have declared an indefinite strike beginning from Monday, following the government's failure to address their 8-point demands concerning welfare, promotions, and improvement to their working conditions. The Magistrates Association of Nigeria, Cross River State Chapter, announced the resolution in a statement signed by its chairman, Godwin Ona, and Secretary Solomon Abuo. The association emphasized that the strike would continue indefinitely until all their demands are met. The strike follows several months of unsuccessful negotiations, including a series of warning strikes and formal communications with the state government. Now, still speaking on the human rights lawyer, Dele Farutimi, news also reaching us confirms that the court grants activist Dele Farutimi 50 million naira bail. Is a prominent Nigerian activist and a legal practitioner, Dele Farutimi, who has been granted bail by the Ekiti State High Court. The bail conditions include a sum of 50 million naira and a surety of the same amount, with a surety required to possess a landed property. The case has now been adjourned to 29th of January 2025 for further proceedings. Omoyele Sowore, the 2023 African Action Congress AAC presidential candidate, shared this development on his X handle on Monday. Now, Farutimi was dragged to court by Chief Afe Babalola, a senior advocate of Nigeria, after he was arrested by operatives of the Ekiti State Police Command. The arrest had sparked outrage across the country, prompting civil society organizations and the Nigerian Bar Association to call for the release of the activist. Now, African leaders have been tasked to focus on building strong institutions and eliminating corruption in governance in a bid to create a conducive environment for economic growth. This was during a conference in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, where they called for more efforts to eradicate corruption on the continent so that Africa can achieve its development goals. Our correspondent, Joshua Imarai, filed this report.
Building a sustainable platform for economic growth and development in Nigeria and Africa was the focal point of the conference, and that was organized by the Africa Intercontinental Network Initiative, which held in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. The event, which had in attendance individuals from various sectors across the continent, emphasized the essence of peace and unity as a major recipe for building a prosperous continent.
Let us put aside our differences. Let us forget about Nigeria, Ethiopia, South Africa, and all other countries that divide us. Because at the end of the day, we are all part of Africa, one black race. Together, we can achieve greatness.
Guest speakers at the event say Africa must focus on building strong institutions and eliminating corruption to create a conducive environment for economic growth.
Nigeria cannot work if corruption is our middle name. Build any platform you want to build, it will collapse within years if greed is our middle name.
To build a sustainable platform for the development and growth of Nigeria as a nation, we must kill corruption at its roots.
Participants at the conference reaffirmed the urgent need for collective effort in fostering equitable development across Africa. They say that only when nations collaborate and coexist peacefully, Africa can achieve its developmental objectives. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
That was our correspondent in the FCT speaking on fostering economic growth and eradicating corruption. Now, energy experts in Nigeria have urged citizens to dispel fears over the use of compressed natural gas as a fuel source for the nation's transportation sector. They made this call in Abuja, the nation's capital, saying that CNG is safe for use by vehicles and commend the federal government for its current policy on its use. Our correspondent, Amidst Uyi, reports.
It was a gathering of energy experts deliberating on Nigeria's compressed natural gas policy and its possible implementation nationwide.
Yeah, the conference is a knowledge-sharing conference, and the essence of the conference is to draw critical stakeholders to bear their views and share their thoughts on the ongoing CNG revolution in Nigeria and how we could get the public to key into it to support the implementation of this robust and very, very important federal government policy.
They say the policy has come at the right time and is the way to go for Nigeria.
CNG could have started many years ago. What are many years ago? Because we have the CNG. If you have things, not utilizing it is like you would not value it. So this means that definitely CNG is the way to go because it's a big ecosystem. When you talk about CNG, you not talk about only the transportation, moving goods and persons from one point to another, but also reducing the carbon monoxide being produced and polluting the environment.
It is the way to go, especially with the removal of fuel subsidy and with the intervention of the government. It is a cheaper and cleaner alternative to, fossil fuel. So, and with the issue of climate change and global warming, I think Nigeria needs to push their reliance on fossil fuel to a more cleaner energy.
Some of them allayed fears over the use of compressed natural gas as a fuel source for the transportation sector, saying it is safe for use.
CNG is a cost-effective alternative to gasoline. It's cheaper, it's environmentally friendly, and we have the statistics. It's also not dangerous. CNG itself burns at around 594 degrees Celsius at auto ignition temperature, while gasoline burns at 260 degrees Celsius, and that's far away. In case of accidents, CNG is safer because it doesn't spill. If you have vehicles that spill off gasoline, CNG doesn't do that. CNG is lighter than air, so even if it's leaking, it goes on here, and it has a lower range of flammability. That's between 5% and 15%.
They say Nigeria currently has about 15 million vehicles on its roads and commend the ambitious objective to convert 1 million of those vehicles to compressed natural gas by the end of 2025. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amidst Uyi.
Now, in order to control incessant fire outbreaks in Abia State during this Harmattan season, Abia State government has said it has advised every household, every marketplace, and every office in the state to have fire extinguishers readily available at all times. These extinguishers, according to the government, must be duly certified by the state's fire service to guarantee their functionality and installed in their premises to manage fire outbreaks. News Central's Chinwe Ugeli reports that the Office of the Homeland Security in the state on Friday flagged off the 2024 Fire Safety Week in Umuahia, themed Sustaining Fire Safety in Abia State.
Usually comes with the challenge of dust, cold in some cases, and regrettably fire incidences. The state government says to serve as a precautionary measure, fire extinguisher must be made an essential item in every household, shop, market, and workplace.
In following with the provision of the law that the state's fire service regulates all things fire safety in the state, it is now the policy of Abia State Fire Service that the only fire extinguisher that may be allowed to be installed in all homes, marketplaces, and businesses must be fire extinguishers duly certified by the state fire service.
Most citizens admit they do not have them as their first reaction to fire, is to run.
If I see anything like insurgency, I will run. I will not stand and be watching.
The message at an event to flag off the Fire Safety Week in Umuahia is for people to be the first responders at any time there's fire by using the extinguishers before the arrival of firefighters.
If you do not have this equipment, we won't be able to fight fire, except especially when it's at the incipient stage. So this is why we will have to enforce this. The fire service, Abia State Fire Service, would have to drive it.
The Controller General, Federal Fire Service, Abdul Karim Jaji, was represented by the Zonal Controller of Abia State and Imo State, who says the Fire Safety Week is an annual event organized to inform the public on the importance of firefighting and prevention.
As the zonal controller, I want to assure the State Fire Service and the good people of Abia State that the federal government has deployed a lot of equipment for firefighting, and we are not keeping it to ourselves. We are deploying some to Abia State Fire Service.
The State Controller of Fire Service, Anna Narura, also spoke at the event.
Safety in Abia State requires a multifaceted approach.
Some persons also offer safety tips to the public.
The first thing somebody should do about fire is to make sure he or she is with the phone number, the emergency phone lines of the fire office.
For each and every company or small-scale industry to have a fire extinguisher around them, so that they can start before the firefighters will come around.
Although government says it has improved in its services to the public, the people ought to be taught on how to use the extinguishers to achieve effective results, or the whole essence may be defeated. In Umuahia for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugeli.
Right now, African student leaders across the continent have called on governments within the continent to prioritize tackling unemployment and ensure citizens of the continent have access to free basic education. This was as they converged on Abuja, the nation's capital, calling on youths within the continent to learn from one another and shun being used as tools by the political class to destabilize their states.
The reason as to why we have come here is to see how we can seek opportunities to assist our own students in our own countries, to see how we can unite as Africans, student leaders, to see how we can improve education in our countries where we feel or we deem still unsustainable.
In Africa, not only Ethiopia, in Africa, in 54 African countries, of youth problem as one, jobless. Jobless is dangerous or a very, very severe issue in Africa. So to prevent that, we work for African youth to create for them job. To create for them job, entrepreneurship training is very necessary for especially African youth.
As a matter of opportunity, we are here representing more than 600 million students who are suffering a lot and who are fighting with their contemporary situation.
Every child must go to school for free of charge. For free of charge, from nursery to senior 6.
But today, as I stand before you all today, since the inception of this government of Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, since their inception, we've not heard from the academic staff union of university, which means that the current government is working towards solving the educational crisis in this country.
You're still live with us on News Central now. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now let's head up north. Libyan Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Dbeibah has approved the National Food Security Strategy for 2025 to 2035, a plan aimed at enhancing the country's food self-sufficiency and sustainability. Announced on Sunday, the strategy includes 174 projects and 65 programs targeting local production and a stable food system. Speaking at the approval ceremony, Dbeibah emphasized that food security is a national priority and key to Libya's economic and social stability. The government pledged full support for the strategy and urged collaboration between public and private sectors to ensure its success. This comprehensive plan seeks to address major food security challenges and build resilience in Libya's agricultural sector. Now, South Africans are calling on the resignation of President Cyril Ramaphosa, expressing a deep frustration following his marks on visa applications by Nigerians to South Africa. President Ramaphosa made these remarks during the 11th SA Nigeria Bilateral Commission meeting that took place in Cape Town. They're linking the visa issue to a broader narrative of job scarcity and crime issues that have plagued the society for years. Now, some see the president's comments as a tactic that will bring foreign nationals in South Africa without visas. In his response through his spokesperson, Vincent Magwanya, the president said he was misunderstood and that Nigeria contributes positively to the economy of South Africa. To further discuss this issue, we're now joined by political analyst Sandile Swana. Thank you so much, Sandile, for joining us. I'll just go straight and ask, what exactly are the specific circumstances that have led to the call of Ramaphosa's resignation, especially regarding the Nigeria visa application issue? We know that that's not the only problem. So is it an issue of accumulated anger, or just, it goes beyond the visa problem, definitely, doesn't it?
Yes, the visa, first of all, there is no visa problem. So this is a red herring, a wild latching onto the call for Ramaphosa to resign for genuine reasons. Now, first of all, the statement made by Ramaphosa, which has been misinterpreted, but misinterpreted because there is a long-term unemployment, rising unemployment problem, long-term, in actual fact, in South Africa, and economic failure, including this year. So that has created tensions, and Nigerians have been targeted specifically. So the idea that Ramaphosa has actually said that Nigerians can enter South Africa without passports, without visas, and so on, is an exaggeration by opportunists who are fueling xenophobia continuously, not only against Nigerians, but against Africans, Pakistanis, and so on. So Ramaphosa is caught up in that wave at this moment in time.
Right. Now, how would you say that all of this incident reflects the broader issues in South Africa's bilateral relations with other African countries?
We must distinguish between the relationship between the South African state, the official relationships with other African countries. It's not easy for me to immediately think of any specific countries, maybe Rwanda to a certain degree, where the state has got problems, specific problems with a particular country, including Nigeria. The problems that we have are problems in the communities and in social media and with agitators in South Africa, who have formed a very negative view that people such as Nigerians bring crime, they take jobs from South Africans and all sorts of things like that. But those are normal signs when the economy is not doing well and people are under economic pressure.
All right. I'm going to ask a question that a lot of people would seem, seemingly a no-brainer, but it's a very deep concerning issue. Now, in your opinion, do you think that South Africans generally, and not just South Africans now, the whole of Africa generally understand the concept of bilateral relations and their importance for the country? I'll give an example. The visa-free entry into African countries. We speak about that, we preach about that, allowing easier trade access within Africa, but only about 4 African countries as of November 6, 2024, have implemented the visa-free entry for other African countries. So do you think that Africa, on a larger scale, and then streamlining it to South Africa, really understand the meaning of bilateral relationship?
Yes, it's a relevant question. The education of Africans and South Africans in particular on the question of opening the borders, allowing people free visa-free travel, because first of all, they don't even understand what the visa is there. What is the purpose of this visa? Therefore, if you say you are giving people visa-free travel, what do you mean and what are the benefits of that? The integration of the African economy in terms of communications, transport, logistics, etc., That also still needs to be done so that more trade. People have not even been educated by African intellectuals and African political leaders as to the opportunities that are being missed whilst these delays of not opening the borders continue to be in place.
Okay, now we know that this is not the first time we're hearing about the not so subtle tension between South Africa and Nigeria. What exactly could have caused it? What historical factors have contributed to any existing hostilities or tensions between South Africa and Nigeria that is still lingering on?
Well, there are, I don't know whether to call them flimsy reasons, but for instance, there's been a very hot contest in the beauty contest arena with Chidima Adesina recently, where she ended up going to be the first princess in the Miss Universe contest. Now, whilst she had been expelled from South Africa for fraudulent papers. Now, that links to the other issue, that South Africans have formed a view, and this view is widely shared, that Nigerians are always involved in criminal activities and fraud, as if South Africans are not. In other words, Nigerians are leading crime in drug dealing and other things in South Africa, even if the statistics were to point in another direction, that the South Africans are actually the ones leading crime in South Africa, and so on and so forth. The other issues that are substantive, for instance, that the Nigerian government, because it's short of foreign exchange at the moment, is not paying certain investors, South African investors. Most South Africans don't even know about such things. So this is a street level layman's conflict that has got no scientific basis, but it is real, it does need to be managed, but it has got no scientific basis.
Okay, I mean, from your own perspective, do you see this dying down anytime soon? Because now it looks as though, like you said, there are flimsy reasons why there's this tension between South Africa and Nigeria. And at any opportunity, either South Africans or Nigerians just take it up with the other country. We've seen the e-hailing story where South Africans just started ordering rides from Nigerians and then Nigerians retaliated. So do you see this dying down anytime soon? Because this might go a long way in affecting the relationship that South Africa has or should have with Nigeria.
The problem that you have is that South Africa is very poor in law enforcement. Our law enforcement is extraordinarily poor. And the stories that you are now telling me and other related stories that have happened speak to the issue that there is no proper law enforcement in South Africa. So to the extent that South Africa does not protect businesses, does not protect citizens properly and residents of South Africa properly, regardless of ethnicity, that problem cannot be solved quickly, that specific problem. All those problems that are showing that our law enforcement system is weak and leaking, those will not be solved. Then opportunities of various kinds will fuel all kinds of conflict in order to create chaos and to therefore continue with other crimes, including new crimes that were not there before.
Right. Okay. Political analyst Sandile Swana, this is the much we can take, but thank you so much for joining us and discussing the bilateral relationship between South Africa and Nigeria. Let's take a look at the world outside the African continent. Now, President Bashar al-Assad fled to Russia after Islamist rebels launched a swift offensive that ousted him from power, ending 5 decades of his family's rule and marking a new chapter in Syria's history. The offensive, led by the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham coalition, has rapidly captured major cities, including Aleppo, Hama, Dara, and Homs, before seizing Damascus. Residents in Damascus have been seen cheering in the streets as rebel factions celebrated Assad's departure, declaring the city of Damascus free.
أنا اليوم نزلت الحمد لله ما في خوف، يعني ما في خوف من شيء الحمد لله كل الأمور بخير بالبلد. بس هيك إن شاء الله عجلة الاقتصاد تمشي ونحن بألف خير إن شاء الله. كنا ما نحسن نحكي إنه نحن مضطهدين أو نحن ما عايشين بكرامة. كل حدا يسافر لبرا يقول لك في حقوق انسان وفي نحن ما نشوف هذا الشيء منهم. الحمد لله هلا ان شاء الله يا رب هالبلد
نظام فاجر، نظام مجرم هو وابوه، ما شفنا من غير قهر وشفنا من العذاب وقلة المعيشه. ومع دور والدي، انا والدي كان بالجيش، كان يخوفنا انه الاذان الحيطان الاذان احنا صغار، يعني لما يجي يحكي للوالدي مثلا شو صار عندهم، شو عم يساووا بحما، شو عم يساووا بدنيا النظام المجرم هذا، نحن نقول وين الاذان بالحيطان؟ لما صغار ما نفهم شيء هذا، لانه كان من والدي واجور اللي يمسكوه اعدام.
حاليا الحمد لله يعني امورنا بخير، انزاح الهم والغم والاكتئاب الموجود بالداخل، يعني داخلنا كان كله مكتئب من العام 1963 لهلا.
Let's talk business now. Nigeria has expressed interest in Zimbabwe's agricultural food systems and rural transformation strategy, aiming to enhance its own agricultural sector. During a visit to Harare, Nigeria's Minister of Agriculture met with Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa at the State House to discuss agricultural practices and mechanization strategies. The meeting, reported by the Herald, emphasized Nigeria's desire to adopt Zimbabwe's mechanization strategies to boost agricultural productivity. In a follow-up session, Nigeria's Agriculture Minister held talks with Dr. Anxious Musuka, Zimbabwe's Minister of Land, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, to explore further collaboration in agriculture. This partnership highlights the importance of cross-border cooperation in advancing sustainable agricultural development. And to sports, Lagos-based side Turmoil Academy and Safety Babes of Abuja emerged champions of the 2024 Premier Handball League on Sunday. Turmoil Academy dominated the league, winning 19 out of 20 games. Already crowned champions, Turmoil defeated Rima Strikers of Sokoto 36-33 in a thrilling dead rubber match played at the Indoor Sport Hall, National Institute of Sport, Surulere. Now, in the women's category, Safety Babes of Abuja overpowered Defender Babes, winning 36-32 to secure their fourth consecutive title.
We want to thank God Almighty for the victory, and we also want to thank our Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Sheikh Mohammed MNI, and our teaming fans all over the world. It's not an easy task, but like I said, we want to give thanks to God Almighty and to thank every other person. I feel happy. I am on top of the world. I am everything.
Well, that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. We told you that Ghana police arrests 12 over Electoral Commission office arson. Electoral Commission urges patience as election results are finalized. He also did mention that human rights activist Dele Faratimi has been granted 15 million naira bail in Ekiti State. And finally, we told you Libya approves national security strategy on food self-sufficiency for 2025-2035. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, StarTimes, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Osugun.